Every time you query a language model or generate an image, you are commanding physical hardware. The 2026 AI boom has created an insatiable global demand for raw processing power. For decades, the tech industry assumed its biggest supply chain vulnerability was in East Asia. The anxiety centered on who controlled the highly sensitive fabrication plants where these final microchips are printed. But building those processors relies on a geographic bottleneck located far away from those fabrication plants, nestled in a 25-mile stretch of the Appalachian Mountains. In late 2024, Hurricane Helene devastated this region. Flooding washed away local roads and destroyed power grids, revealing the physical constraints of a supply chain the industry assumed was indestructible. The industry survived the immediate aftermath through a combination of downstream safety stocks and raw material buffers sitting in secondary purification facilities in Norway. By 2026, those inventories have been systematically depleted. Without a steady supply of high-purity quartz extracted specifically from these mines, manufacturers cannot sustain production. Industry assessments show that a total exhaustion of these reserves will freeze new global monocrystalline silicon wafer output within 6 months. The trajectory of the artificial intelligence boom now converges on the output of this single Appalachian town. You won't actually find a grain of spruce pine quartz inside the processor of your computer. The semiconductor supply chain needs this specific mineral to manufacture the equipment making the raw silicon. To create the monocrystalline silicon ingots that eventually get sliced into wafers, manufacturers use the Czochralski method. This process involves melting down metallurgical-grade polysilicon in a specialized furnace at temperatures exceeding 1400 degrees Celsius. At that extreme thermal threshold, the molten silicon becomes highly reactive and will aggressively corrode almost any container it touches. The only material capable of holding its shape at 1400 degrees without transferring impurities into the silicon is ultra-pure fused silica, which is made exclusively from high-purity quartz. But the crucible does not survive the process. During crystallization, the intense heat causes the inner wall of the quartz crucible to slowly dissolve into the silicon melt. Once a single ingot is pulled, the hardware is structurally degraded and chemically spent. Wafer production requires a continuous physical flow of high-purity quartz to keep factories operational. Given that quartz is chemically composed of silicon dioxide, which is the exact same chemical makeup as common beach or desert sand, it raises a logical engineering question. Why can't the industry simply melt down ordinary sand? The problem lies in the trace elements. Common sand is filled with transition metals and metalloids, particularly iron, aluminum, and boron. In semiconductor physics, elements like boron act as dopants, which alter the electrical conductivity of silicon. If even a parts per billion presence of dopants leaches from standard sand crucibles into the silicon grade, it disrupts the electrical properties of the entire batch, rendering the resulting microchips non-functional. You cannot simply wash these impurities out either. Regular sand grains possess a tight, highly disordered mineral matrix. That structure locks toxic contaminants deep inside the core of the grain, allowing them to survive aggressive purification attempts. Standard sand simply cannot be chemically scrubbed clean enough. To survive intense hydrofluoric acid leaching and extreme industrial thermal shocks, the semiconductor industry requires a raw material with a vastly different molecular geometry. That perfect starting material was engineered roughly 380 million years ago, during the Taconic and Akkadian orogenies. The continental plates of Africa and North America collided, forcing molten rock deep into the Earth's crust. Most typical magmatic formations evolve surrounded by groundwater. The Spruce Pine pegmatites crystallized under immense pressure in an environment almost entirely devoid of water. Trapped deeply underground and heavily insulated by the surrounding rock, the magma cooled at an exceptionally slow, frictionless rate. This lack of water, combined with millions of years of slow cooling, allowed massive crystals to grow without trapping fluid inclusions or external trace elements. This prehistoric accident yielded an extraordinarily open, coarse molecular structure. When mined and crushed into gravel, that open lattice geometry is exactly what allows advanced industrial acids to reach inside and strip away the final, stubborn, microscopic impurities. Because this specific geology exists only within a single 25-mile stretch of land, it created an extreme commercial bottleneck. Two corporations, Sibelco and the Quartz Corp, manage the extraction of this deposit. Together, they control between 70 and 90. With the 2026 natural supply disrupted, desperate semiconductor manufacturers are outbidding competitors for whatever limited synthetic quartz is available. This leaves the cost-sensitive solar panel industry unable to secure crucibles for their photovoltaic wafers, forcing a complete manufacturing stall in the renewable energy sector. The tech industry operates on ethereal concepts like cloud computing and artificial neural networks, but running those calculations require physical microprocessors built inside uncontaminated furnaces. A moment of wonder. The hardware powering our digital infrastructure remains dependent on a finite 380 million-year-old geological fluke.